Welcome back to Creating Cooperative Kids. I'm your host, Bill Corbett. Even though we parents worry about our kids when we send them off to school, there are many kind and caring people at our child's school who are always looking out for them when we can't. One of those caring individuals is the school's guidance counselor, and many of them go beyond their job description to help our kids out. Joining me on the show today is just one of those individuals. Judy Cohen spent 30 years as a high school guidance counselor, advising students with career and college planning. She also established a drug and alcohol support group and a grief support group. 2004, she published the book From the Guidance Counselor's Office, full of real-life stories and situations that students and parents can learn from. Thanks for coming to the show, Judy.
My pleasure, Bill. I'm glad you asked me.
I really enjoyed reading through the book. There were so many stories. In fact, there were some that I can relate to when I was in school. So I appreciate you having taken the time to put this down for others to learn from. So I first want to ask you, what made you do this? Because this is a lot of work for you to have to go back and, examining the past and your experience, having dealt with a lot of these situations. What made you do that? Just curious.
I really felt that it was very important to get a message out there to parents, what goes on in my office or what did go on at the time, and to present it with no psychobabble. A lot of times they might be reading a book and they really don't even understand the words. This way, there was no psychobabble. There were actual stories. The names of the children were changed to protect them, of course. And by reading it, parents could see, gee whiz, I'm not alone with this situation, or my child's not unique. These problems do exist. Let me see how they're handled. And they can see different ways that they are handled by reading the book. And then, if those solutions work for them, they can wear it. If it doesn't, they could try something else as well.
Very, very informative for parents. I think all parents should have to read this book because it gives them a view into the daytime, in the school, the kind of issues come up. Now, we mentioned earlier one of my favorite stories in here because it's one I'm definitely going to be using when I'm talking to parents, because the teen was caught lying. And she lied to you, and then, unbeknown to her, her mother called for some other reason, revealed that the little girl had lied, the teenager had lied. And what I love about what you had said was, when you talked to the teenager later, she said that she got sick and tired of being honest. Right. She got sick and tired of telling her parents the truth because they would get angry, and she would get punished and whatever. So what happens? Automatic defense systems kick in, and kids learn to protect themselves, protect their safety, their emotional health, their physical health, to keep themselves safe. So in essence, and I'm always telling parents, we actually teach children to lie based on our behavior. And it's so important for parents to remain calm and be unconditionally forgiving, and to realize that when you scream and yell, what are you teaching your child through that screaming and yelling?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely, for sure. And I would have parents come in, and a parent would sit there, the child would sit here, and we would discuss different things. And it would come out, but gee, Ma, if I really told you what happened, you'd punish me. You'd be so angry with me. Why don't you ask me why? Why did I do something? And I think that's the crux of the matter. Talk to your child. Find out the reason behind the action, and then you can deal with it together. But if you yell and scream, what happens is the child just turns you out. Now, if I'm talking like this, all of a sudden you're going to raise your voice. If I talk more softly like this, it's calming. The child relaxes a little and then feels more comfortable sharing.
I think what also may happen is children learn to stop communicating with the parent, and they now are open up more to the school staff maybe. And so I think guidance counselors and principals and teachers may hear more that parents don't hear because parents are shutting them down. But you gave us a couple of things, and just give us a few with the points.
One thing that I thought was very important is that parents should have presence, not presence, P-R-E-S-E-N-T-S. That P-R-E-S-E-N-C-S is very, very important. So many times I'll meet with a child and, oh my heavens, they've got every type of electronic device, wonderful clothes, you name it. But what they don't have is the intangible, the love and the caring of the parent. I remember going to a basketball game once, and my child was playing in it. And this one boy was phenomenal in the game. And when the game was over, I went up to my own son, John, and I said, John, that was awesome. You did a great job. I'm so proud of you. And then I looked over at his buddy who was kind of standing there, and I said, you did a good job too. And he said, yeah, but I wish Dad were here to see it. He always seems to be so busy, and he's never here to see me do something. Oh, Mrs. Cohen, I just wish that he had come. And I felt so badly that I gave him a big hug and I said, but I was here. And next time I see him, I'll tell him, what a great job you did.
And that's unfortunate because parents are, and this isn't to vilify parents because they are being put under so much pressure. Their employers are really putting their feet to the fire, and so parents are in this fear mode. Oh my gosh, I've got to earn all this money. I got to pay the mortgage. I got to do all this stuff, and so that becomes number one. Whatever they have left over might go to parenting, might go to their children. So, what other points can you offer?
I think it's all, some of them you mentioned, of course, when a kid goes to school and how he should have the appropriate equipment with him. Very, very important. He should have a good place to study as well without interruptions. He needs to be able to talk to his parent and tell the parent, gee, this went on in school today. This happened. Sometimes he might come home grumpy. Find out why. Say to him, gee, what happened in that class? You know, sometimes he might say, I can't do that. I hate the teacher, and I'm going to get out of there. Tell him, just relax. School just started. Let's see what's going on. If, in fact, it continues and the child brings home some grades that aren't so good, number one, as a parent, make an appointment with a guidance counselor. You can always do progress reports, and every week the child will have the teacher sign it, and you'll see exactly how the child is doing. A lot of times now you can check it right out on a computer. You know, a lot of schools have something, a program, that you can go right into it and see not only the homework assignments, but the grades that the child is getting. And then sit down with your child. If a tutor is needed, if after-school help is needed, have the child do that. It's not a punishment, you know. It's just a way to help him, and you have to make him understand that as well.
And I think we're almost out of time, but you bring up a very good point, and I think what I do when I work with parents in the parenting classes and teach them how to ask open-ended questions and to put aside judgment, you know, be in control of your emotions. Don't get angry. Don't be, you know, because parents want to hurry up and fix everything and make it better. But the hardest thing to do and the most wonderful thing is to say, so, how was school today? And to say things like, wow, or really?
Show
or
that you're
then
interested,
what? Exactly.
Right? And really, really listen to what they have to say. Another thing I wanted to bring up is, don't live vicariously through your child. Oh my goodness. Maybe the kid doesn't want to take Spanish. I don't care if you had 20 years of Spanish. The kid does not want to take it. Or grandma's from Quebec and you want the child to take French. Kid doesn't want to take French. Don't force your child to do something your child does not want to do. Every person is an individual, and you have to remember that. That's why every parent needs to read this book, because there's subtle, important messages in here. Thank you so
I'm
much.
glad you put it down on paper. I know I'm going to enjoy the copy that you gave me, and I'm going to pass it on to parents in part of my lending library to help other parents. So thank you so much. It was great having you here today.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. I encourage parents to get involved in their child's school and meet some of the awesome people that work there who make up the team of adults who shape their children's lives. And if parents' lives were a little less cluttered, they might find those school notices that go home so they can be at those important school events. Coming up after the break, I've got two guests who can help parents with this exact dilemma. Don't go away. I'll be right back with those guests after I take a quick break.
Thank you.
And